Welcome, one and all, to Angel's Citadel and our very first Citadel Lounge. I am Josh Wallace. I am the keeper of the keys at Angel's Citadel, and I guard the doors. I'm so glad to have you here. We're getting started in this whole streaming thing, and it's kind of an interesting proposition. We're we've been doing blogging for a long time, and this is kind of new for us. So we're figuring things out, and we're getting to meet a whole bunch of new people while we do it. It's great. Joanne?
Hi, I'm Joanne Wallace, the Angel of Angel Citadel, and I too am very glad that you guys could join us. It has been a very exciting ride this past year, and I look forward to even more exciting.
So what are we going to talk about tonight, huh?
This, that, and the other?
This, that, the other thing. It occurs to me that while a lot of the people that are going to be joining us have probably read our blog at angelcitadel.com, maybe have read some advice or one of our reviews. They may or may not know a little bit about us, and so why don't we take some time tonight and maybe share a few stories, talk a little about where we've been and what what gets us going in gaming itself.
It sounds like a great plan. I lost my document.
Oh no.
I lose all the things. It's been a day. All right, so as most of you know me, Joanne, I'm a longtime gamer. My first game was GURPS. Later, I played Shadowrun, Dungeons and Dragons, and Pathfinder. I became a forever DM and met Josh when I was begging for players on my first run out of running a game of Shadowrun. Reddit was a very good friend.
It was. Reddit was very good to us. Hey Fook, how you doing? Good to have you here.
Yay! Hi, Fook!
So yeah, we met on Reddit looking for a games post, and she had posted that she wanted to run a Shadowrun game, and at the time I hadn't gamed in probably 2 3 years, and I had the itch. And so somebody was running a Shadowrun game, and I'm like, hey, I'm in. So I contacted her, and we started playing Shadowrun with a couple other guys. We're still friends with them, and that's how we met. That was what, 8 9 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So, and I've been gaming since I was about 8. I happened to be living in Ohio at the time, and as a kid, you live in those subdivisions, and back in the day, nobody fenced their yards in, right? The yards just all butted up against each other, and so I had a friend that went to school with me that he lived in the house that butted up against my backyard. And that summer, his older brother, who was in his teens, and a bunch of his friends would hole up in one of those pop-up campers out in the back of their yard, and we'd crawl over there and annoy him. But the thing was they were in there and they had this red box with a big old red dragon on the front of it, and some fighter that looked like he was trying to give it a toothpick with a sword. Um, and that was my first introduction to Dungeons and Dragons. I had no idea what they were doing, but as we listened, it sounded really cool. And so the next year, I think it was for Christmas, I got me a red box, and that was my introduction. I picked up BattleTech shortly thereafter, and Mech Warrior. And then a few years later, I found Shadowrun. It was in second edition, I think, by then. As I kept meeting people in high school and grade school that played, it was Palladium and Rifts and then Traveler, and then I got old and got married and had kids, and you know what that does to your time. So um, that was when we finally got that Reddit post, and ever since then I've been playing Shadowrun and D&D and then Cypher and Numenera and or Numenera then Cypher and a whole bunch of other stuff. So varied history, but lot of person behind it. Most of it, most of my friends that I grew up with, most of my lifelong friends have come from gaming. Um, my wife came from gaming. Yeah, it's given me as much as anything ever has. So this is kind of our way of giving back.
Well, speaking of giving back, I mean, you can probably tell that the two of us have been, what, playing and GMing for years, because both of us are well over the age of 8. um, so when we started the blog, it kind of started as a, well, having a place to put advice would be a good thing, because there really wasn't a lot of places for uh, there was specific advice like how to run a D&D game, but there wasn't general advice like how to be a good player or what to look for. Thank you. I'm glad you love it. So then we started publishing the advice articles, and then we decided to add reviews because while you could find D&D reviews and some of the bigger name reviews like Shadowrun, you couldn't find a lot for the indie games. And the ones that you did find, it'd be, oh my god, this product's so awesome, you should totally buy it. Yes, buy it, buy it, buy it. But it didn't really give details. What's the game about? What's on the product? How does the product play? So we decided we were going to start covering that. I mean, not into detail that, you could take our blog article and then play the game, but to where when you pick that product up and you look at it, you can look at our website and say, okay, so this is what it's like, and then decide for yourself, hey, this looks really cool. I want to play it. Or maybe this one's not for me, but this one over here might.
That's a really good point. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that do Dungeons and Dragons and Shadowrun and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, there's a place for that, and they do really good jobs. Matt Colville or um, golly, what's the guy in Britain? How to Be a Great Game Master. They both do some fantastic, um, wonderful videos and reviews and in-depth discussions about how to make those systems sing. And we didn't want to rehash all that. What we really wanted to do is kind of forge out on our own and get to know some other things. Um, what 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 one of the things that happened to me is I spent probably 30 years playing D&D, and by the time I got done, I was burned out. I didn't want to play. I didn't want to GM. I didn't know what else to do. And it took coming across something like Numenera to be able to say, "Oh, hey, there's other stuff out there." It's kind of like the board games, right? So growing up, the board games that you could call board games were Monopoly and Scrabble and Life, and those were board games. And then along the way, somebody came up with this thing called Catan, and then everybody decided that they were going to make board games. And so it went from, 5 or 10 board games that everybody had and were the only things that anybody ever played to thousands and thousands and thousands of games. And it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do with all these games? It is the same thing in role playing, right? So I went from D&D and Shadowrun and, maybe a couple others to everybody and their brothers putting a role playing game. What are all these role playing games and are they any good? And so seeing some of the different things that people did sparked our creativity again. And it made me excited about running games again.
And yes, he got very excited about running Numenera. It was all he talked about for weeks.
Well, you know,
It was adorable.
I will say that the long time that I've been playing games, supplements and stuff like that, um, the the first major shift in my thinking of how to think about running games came from Monty Cook's GM section in Numenera. It was fantastic, and it totally flipped everything that I thought about GMing on its head. So that's
And we have our first question.
yes, I love it.
To answer your question on my behalf, is it's not so much that it gives the feel of a dungeon delve and doesn't have much role playing. It was more of a you get experience for killing, and that's it. There's a set number of experience points you get for killing, or sometimes you'll get a DM that gives milestones, and there's really no social interaction. I mean, sure, you could get the occasional good group where you role play stuff, but most of the groups that I found are, I'm gonna go kill the thing. Wait, what are we gonna do? Kill the thing. And I think that's a big part of where the term murder hobo came in, is because people would go out to kill, and all they cared about was making that experience to get their level.
Well, and that's a key point to get their level right. So one of the types of players, and if you go back in history, there was an article written a while back in Steve Jackson Games by a guy named Robin Laws. And he talks about the type of gamers, and one of the types of gamers that he talks about is that achievement gamer, right? So you want the next level, the next power, the next skill, the next whatever, right? And you're constantly pushing to pump your character up so that it's bigger, it's badder, it's better. And in order to do that, you have to look at the system and say, okay, what does the system reward? And in Dungeons and Dragons, and quite frankly in Pathfinder and several others, particularly the older ones, they reward killing. It's that's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just a thing. And so as you do dungeon delving or whatever, um, you get experience, you get that advantage or that advancement rewarded for whatever it is that you are expected to do in that game. And in Dungeons and Dragons, that's killing monsters. So that's kind of where we've started veering away from um, those kinds of games and into something a little bit more narrative and a little bit more flexible on how advancement works. Um, Cypher does that real well. Fate does that real well. So there's other games out there that don't necessarily you kill the thing, I get this numeric experience.
And yes, Fajouk, in regards to your question, we got to play Numenera shortly after we joined the Cypher Unlimited Discord server. We found a wonderful group of people. I'm a golden one over there. So, yeah, we got to play and not be the forever DM. And the entire group there was very inclusive and very eager to explain how they viewed things and were welcoming of other inputs. They weren't, oh my God, you're wrong. You're playing it wrong. That's not how you play it. It was very much a, okay, well, you play it the way you have fun. And I liked that.
For those of you that don't know, a golden one over at Cypher Unlimited means she's a moderator. And we have one of the owners here in chat with us. Spig Cypher Unlimited is Anthony. He's one of the three that does the Cypher Unlimited group, and is a really good friend of ours. We played with him, we run with him, and he's a blast to hang around. So if you get a chance to say hi to him, say hi. Um, Feel free to go join their Discord, and you'll find the same thing we did. They're very welcoming. They're very open arms to people that want to come in and learn, and try out some of the cool things that Monte Games has put together. Um, so yeah, there's we got the opportunity to play Numenera and not be a forever GM. And I think in chat there, Marcus, I believe is that you, Jay? So yeah, that's probably uh, Jay. He's one of the guys we played Shadowrun with, and yeah, I kind of think I freaked him out a little bit when I first got Numenera. Um, yeah, it was one of those life-changing events for me, and I couldn't stop talking about it because it made that big of an impression.
Hey, buddy, we've missed you. Glad to see you crawled out of the evils of the workland to join us.
So yeah, we had a lot of fun playing Shadowrun when we first started out. Jay was one of the people we played Shadowrun with, and oh, the stories I could tell you. Oh my goodness. I We still talk about our Cajun Majin mojo, and all the shenanigans that we went and participated in. So it was a blast. He's so much fun to play with.
Jay is the reason behind the Red Lobster story with the cheesy biscuits. Yes, shenanigans.
All the
Lots and
shenanigans.
lots of shenanigans. It's because of Josh and Jay that I gave up on actually planning adventures and just started making lists of stuff to happen.
So yeah, you've seen in the blog, if you've been following us, there's been several references to um, problems that I've caused for her in the past, problems that Jay has caused for her in the past, and the shift in how we thought about running games, and instead of preparing, doing lists and hacks with cards and things like that. All that came from us learning how to be more flexible in what we did and how we did it. Um, and as we've talked about that, we looked around and we said, okay, we're reaching a lot of people with our blog, but we want to reach more. We want to talk to more people. We want to sit down and enjoy kind of having conversations kind of like we're having right now, with people, and so we started to step into Streamland. It's not a competition with others. We've got a whole bunch of friends that are doing the same thing. Anthony's one of them. Our friends over at Manapot, Rule of Lore, they're others, and we want you to go and watch them and come watch us and chat with us and learn, and we'll learn together, because I'm not done learning how to be a good GM, and Joanne's not either, and we just we want to get better, we want to have more fun, we want to learn how to tell stories better, and that's why we're doing what we do. How do you encourage new role players that are nervous to role play and get into character? You know, that's that's one that I've thought about a lot, because I'm an introvert, Um, this actually, this whole streaming things is kind of a step out for me. I'm sort of stepping off the cliff and hoping that there's this invisible bridge underneath as I walk, because it's scary. We started streaming, or we're going to be starting streaming Invisible Sun here, and I'm gonna have to do that too because I'm running the game. So all the NPCs are me, and so I get to role play, and I get to step into character, and I get to try and be that for other people. And so how do I do it? Well, when I'm working with other people, um, I do it by example. And what I mean by that, and I'll tell you a story. We had a group that Joanne ran. It was actually a D&D group for my son. My son at the time was 15, 16, something like that, 15 or 16.
15.
And we were trying to help him find some friends. And so we got together with a couple other kids his age and their parents, their fathers, and sat down and played D&D. And I wanted to show them what it was like to build a character that wasn't good at everything. So I decided to take, and I've told this story in the blog, but I decided to take a barbarian, and instead of building a big burly strong barbarian, I built a dex build barbarian, and so he was a halfling that had like an 8 strength or something like that. And I decided, ahead of time I was going to keep that strength at 8 because it didn't make a whole lot of sense for him to be like a halfling and be able to bench press a Mack truck or anything. So, I advanced other stuff, but I never advanced his strength. And he had the biggest attitude on him. And so I'm picturing this kid like Mowgli, and being raised by Baloo the bear. He was actually raised by bear folk. And so he thought he was a bear. And he'd been raised, ever since he was a baby by bears. And so as we as we went and we played, I dove into this, and I tried really hard to make myself look like a complete idiot. Um, to give them permission, right? So what I was trying to do was act as crazy as I thought this character would act, and in trying to you know be a bear even though he's just a halfling, um and do crazy things that he thought a bear should be able to do even though he's just a halfling and couldn't do, just to give them this unconscious permission to do it. So how do you encourage new role players? You have to role play, and as you do that, when you're in a group, you give other people permission to do it too. It's a silent kind of a thing, but the more you dive into it, the more they will feel like they can. They'll take your lead and they'll do it.
All right, I will take the next two questions because I'm cute like that. For you, Vjuk. I hope y'all can hear me okay. My Discord's being weird. Um, when a new player gets too into character and goes chaotic stupid, I try to give them a few minutes to come back, and then I'll draw them to the side and talk to them about their behavior and ask them that if this is the kind of experience they want to have, and then politely inform them that continuing their path will ensure that there are consequences, because let's face it, for example, if you do something stupid in real life, there are consequences. If you do something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, there are consequences. And I try to give that same representation when I'm running a game. If you're going to act in a specific manner, there are consequences. It's the same as if, say, the necromancer decides he's going to set fire to the orphanage, for example, because that's been a standing joke, uh, trope joke for years. There's consequences, and there won't be easy methods out. Now, as for you, Jay, as soon as you think that they're ready to understand the rules, then you should probably go ahead and start introducing them. And I will share with you the best that I've found for little kids. I've written a review. It's called No Thank You Evil. It's for kids starting at about 5 up to about 12 or 13. And it's really fun and engaging for kids. Let me go find that link.
Yeah, two thumbs way up for Shauna Germain for this one. It's a stepped RPG, so it grows with you as you get older. It starts out crazy simple, and you can go as simplistic as we're going to we're going to fight the cavity monsters from the bubblegum fairyland or something like that, right? I mean, it really simplistic stuff. All the way up to as they get older, adding on rules and adding on options until you build up to something that's akin to the cipher system, and that's kind of really the direction they went, right? Because No Thank You Evil is Monte Cook Games as well. And so as you build up um, their playability, as you build up their understanding of game mechanics, you end up building into the actual full cipher system rules. And it's a really slick system. They gave you cards and help as far as running games and coming up with simple ideas and things for kids. I mean, the pictures are very cartoony and vibrant. They did just a fantastic job.
Plus, it's also got parts that the kids can play with. The
Mhm.
cards make it really nice for their interaction. Gives them something to focus on other than just, okay, I'm gonna roll dice and talk. The cards I ordered a set of the cards and they're really, really nice. My grandchild is not quite old enough to play the game, which makes me very sad, but she's really adorable when she's walking around the house holding the card up, waving it around and yelling at the top of her lungs about the card even though she is not actually speaking English but some sort of babblese.
Yay for little kids. So yeah, that's kind of there's other games out there that do something similar. Kids on Bikes comes to mind. Um, there's a couple others. I'd have to go look at what they are, but you can find a lot of them on Drive Through RPG. And you can get the PDFs for really not all that much money. Um, the games are really simple. The rules they keep simple. They try and keep it very narrative, very light. It's not like you're sending kids into a dungeon to fight off demons to save the world or anything like that. There's no dark, there's no blood, there's no gore. It's just you keep it as light as you want and make it uh to where it's age appropriate for them. And it does really good. Great questions so far.
Keep them coming. I mean, sure, I've got, stuff I could talk about, but I'd rather answer questions. That's what I like doing.
This is a lot better than what we had planned. Yeah, in the meantime, I guess we can chat about that. Um, another thing that we wanted to try and do, particularly with our gaming, is focus on inclusiveness, both in games and in genres, and try and make games available to everyone. And so with our Discord, it's open to everybody, And if we'll be starting new games and hosting streams, and if you want to be a part of it, we'd love to have you. We love gaming, we love running games, and if we don't get people out there playing these games, the stuff that we love, the stuff that we've come to enjoy, it's going to fade into history, and we don't want that. So, so I've got one for you.
Okay.
How do you get inspired when you start doing a new game?
Well, I'll tell you how I get inspired. First, I like movies. Lots and lots of movies. Depending on the game I'm running, I'll watch movies. Like Hope's Horizon was also partially inspired by Valorian, the City of a Thousand Planets. That movie confused me the first time I watched it, but I've watched it since then, and it's not quite as bad. For fantasy, though, I really like going to the Renaissance Festival, like we did yesterday.
Tell me about what that was like for you, aside from, me cringing in pain after 4 hours of walking around a Renaissance festival.
I enjoyed it. I loved getting to see the costumes and watching the shows, especially we got to watch this group called the Rogues um, do swordplay, and that was funny. Of course, my favorite part was watching Jacob's face light up.
That was pretty cool. I so I'd never taken my son to a Renaissance festival before, and it'd been, I don't know, 2004, 2005 since I've been, and being able to share that with him was pretty awesome. Is there an RPG out there that you want to try and haven't already?
Yes, yes, there is.
There's a lot.
More than one?
So give me your top three, John.
All right, so the top three that I really want to play that I haven't gotten a chance to play yet are Predation is the first one. That's a big one. I really want to play with the dinosaurs. I want to play some fucking dinosaurs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The second one is from it's a Fate accelerated book. It's called Dresden Files Accelerated. I'd really like to play that. And I'd kind of like to play Better Angels, which, as you've seen on my reviews, is the super villain superhero thing. I'm really looking forward to the superheroes coming out soon. I hope, I hope, I hope. Give me my shinies. Come on, man. I'm a little addicted to games. And yes, the turkey legs were fantastic. I ate one. It was awesome.
They were good. I'm not gonna lie. Um, three games. Okay. Um, I think the one that I'm excited the most about to try is Everway. We've got that in a silver anniversary Kickstarter that we backed, and it's the entire mechanic is based not on dice but on a tarot card mechanic that just really sounds intriguing. It's a Jonathan Tweet game. He's big from D&D, and that's just a blast. I kind of want to play Dresden Files too. I'm a huge Dresden Files fan. I've got, I don't know, all but like the last two or three books, and just because I haven't gotten around to getting them. And I love the characters. I'll tell you what, Jim Butcher makes characters like nobody else makes characters. They're so fun to read about. Um, so yeah, Everway and Dresden Files and The other one that I'm kind of interested in playing is Starforged. And that is a game based off of Sean Tompkins' Ironsworn, which is a solo or co-op or traditional um, game that you can play it, with a GM and players, but you can also play it solo, or you can play it co-op and GMless using an Oracle system. And Starforged is a space variant of the Ironsworn game. And so we've got that coming as well with Kickstarter, and I'm kind of looking forward to that too. So I think those are my three games.
Well, it was very hard to pick.
Golly, yeah, I
What?
mean we've got tons.
Yeah, we kickstarted a lot of games.
I think we've got like 40 open Kickstarters. It's obscene, it's like crack. It's just an addiction. Um, if you don't have spare cash, just stay away from Kickstarter. Do yourself a favor. Oh, we've spent so much crazy money on it. But if you pick the right ones, I will say this, if you pick the right ones, Kickstarter is crazy value. For instance, we backed recently. I had to the Avatar role playing game. It broke records. They backed $9.5 million. They booked of backers, and the tier that I bought in at was like $75 plus shipping. The total cost was like 95 bucks, and it was everything. You get physical everything for 95 bucks. And they went stretch goal after stretch goal after stretch goal after stretch goal. And the total that you end up getting was something like, if you bought it afterwards, it'd be like $300-400 worth of stuff that you get for 100 bucks. So if you can do that, shoot, you can't beat that kind of value. But it requires a lot of free cash, and I've been very lucky to do it, mostly because it gives us stuff to review. The other one is Humble Bundle, or excuse me, Bundled Holding. Yeah, those, getting the PDFs like that, it's crazy.
Which also explains why the files on the hard drive take up a lot less space than the actual bookcase to hold all the books. Plus, I don't have to move them
This is true. This is true. But you keep telling me to get physical copies of it. So this is
because
at
they're
least
my
partially your
precious.
fault.
Because they're my precious. I want to pet them and hold them and cuddle them.
Buying at the physical tier, Josh. Do they have dice?
Hey, you leave me and my dice alone. You knew I was a goblin when you married me, okay?
Yes, I did. I agree, Anthony. Numenera is awesome. If it would still be, if Invisible Sun wasn't around, it would still be my favorite game.
Yes, he got the invisible sun bug. Well, we try to because we try to buy the dead tree because I freely admit it is far easier for me to learn a system with a physical copy that I can highlight and put notes in than it is for me to have a PDF. So yeah, a lot of the dead tree stuff is on me because that's pretty much the best way I learn.
Favorite system for steampunk airship shenanigans. Um, I almost have to go with a generic system for that. I don't know of any really good dedicated ones that focus on airships, in particular. But you can take like a Fate Core from Evil Hat or Cypher from Monty Cook, and um you can do steampunk and airship and stuff like that, with just a little bit of tweaking, to get there. So that's probably going to be my recommendation, is go with a system like that. Don't worry about it, Fook. You're fine.
Yeah, I can't think of really any that actually have steampunk. Although, if you want to build your own world and you've got a group to do it with, I
Ooh.
can introduce you to something lovely and wonderful. It's called Arium Create. Um, which we use it for when we're working on Hope's Horizon to build out a bit more of the worlds that you're going to find in our full core book. Basically, it's a yes, but, or a no voting system where everybody gets together and you write up a list of stuff and then you get to vote on it. And then you take it all the way down. You go down deeper and down to the next level. And then you end up with this really fantastical setting that everybody had a hand in, that helps everybody be and feel like they're part of the group because they all helped build this world. It's not, here's 500 pages of my home brew. It's, here's what we've built together.
So Arium Create and Arium Discover were written by Adept Icarus. And that was actually one of the first Kickstarters that we did, after the Monty Cook Games Numenera won the last one. Um, and Create, like Joanne said, is very much a world building, collaborative world building, system that allows for, voting, and it's timed, and it's very much off the cuff, um, uh, improv based, tip of your tongue kind of, what's the first thing you think of when you see this, like Rorschach test, right? um but Arium Discover is an actual role-playing game, that goes along with Arium Create, that you can use to play those worlds if you want. You don't have to. The worlds that you build are not are not system specific, and so they'll fit right in with pretty much any generic kind of a system that you want to use, and even some not. So if you're focusing on a fantasy kind of a world, you can probably drop it into 5e D&D just fine, or Pathfinder or something like that. Or if you decide as a group that you want to do, um, Cyberpunk, and you want to drop that into a Cyberpunk Red or a Low Life 2090 or a Shadowrun or something like that, you could probably do it with those systems just fine without actually using, Adept Icarus's, role playing system. But if you want, there's this system that dovetails by design, with Arium Create, and it's a pretty slick system as well.
Yeah, if you look on drive through, there's several different iterations for steampunk for Savage Worlds.
Baron's got its place. One of the great things about a Baron was the fact of how it came about, right? So back in the day, if you think about it, most of the popular worlds um, that made publishing, think Forgotten Realms, think Dragonlance, think RuneQuest and Harn and all those games, right? All of those went through publishing houses where the designers were hired to write settings. And that was sort of um, the whole gist of how things went in that industry. And then along comes Wizards of the Coast and said, "Okay, we're going to have a contest because we need to do something new. Enter the contest, and if we pick you as the winner, we're going to publish your homebrew setting as our official or as an official setting for Dungeons and Dragons." That was huge. And the guy that won that was his 30 year homebrew setting. And it's one of those things that I thought about when we first started doing Hope's Horizon and saying, okay, who the heck am I to write uh, a setting or something like that for Cipher System or for whatever it is that we want to do it for. Well, this other guy did it. If he can do it, we can do it. I mean, we're as good GMs as anybody else. So it's very much yeah, it may not be the greatest setting in the world, but the fact that somebody did it was really a big deal when it happened. And I can't really discount how that changed the idea that just anybody could write. Yeah, Keith, that's his name, Keith Baker. That just anybody could do a setting, and then Drive Through RPG became big because you could self-publish there. So I feel like I need one of those shirts. I'm the world's okayest GM.
You're better than okay. I've played with okay. You're better than okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So um it's 8:48. We planned on going until 9 o'clock. Let's talk a little about what's coming up for Angel Citadel.
Well, other than Joanne losing her mind.
Wait a minute, Joanne's losing her mind? What's going on?
Well, the whole Hope's Horizon thing has turned out to be a little bigger than I expected. Especially getting it codified to where my thought process actually makes legitimate sense rather than random words strewn across a page.
So, for those of you that don't know, Hope's Horizon was our brainchild, and we actually wrote fiction around it first. And the role playing game, the setting, is our attempt to codify the fiction into something that somebody else could theoretically play. And it's been a heck of a journey trying to figure out how to do that because it's something neither of us has ever done. Um, not necessarily just to run it. We could run it all day, but writing it down in such a way that someone could take that and run their own game is not as easy as it sounded when we first started.
But hey, we're having fun.
We are indeed having fun.
And I have learned a lot since I've started. The value of a good editor is not to be dismissed.
Amen to that. So we've got Hope's Horizon coming up still, and we're still hard at work on that. That'll be a full length core book that's going to be based on the Cipher system. Um, we do not currently have that fiction released, and it may or may not ever get released. We're not quite sure whether or not we're going to do that or not. You may see some of it in like vignettes inside the book, but I don't know if the whole corpus is going to get released. Um, we've got streams that we're doing now, so we have this Citadel Lounge. We'll be doing this every week. Um, Same time, same channel.
Cause I'm crazy.
Because you're crazy. Same time, same channel. So 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time here on Twitch every Sunday. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna chat about role playing games. Bring your questions. Bring your coffee. Bring your alcohol or whatever it is you want to drink. Come relax with us. Chat with us. We want to talk to you. We've got games that we're going to start. We have Invisible Sun that's going to be starting next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time Sunday. And I'm crazy because I'm going to run it. So I've got a wonderful cast of four, and they're going to try and delve into the depths of my mind as I make some sense of the metaphysics of Invisible Sun and try and guess what the heck was on Monty's brain as he was smoking whatever it was he was smoking when he made Invisible Sun. So after that, we're going to do some other do some other games. I know Joanne's got at least one that she's starting to think about and plan for. I'll let her tell you about that if she wants to. If she doesn't want to, she it can stay a surprise. Um, but you know, we've got a lot of things coming, and we're gonna be doing some discrete content as well. Um, Probably for at least partially for our Patreon subscribers. Um, I'm gonna start getting back into cartography and doing some maps again. And Mhm. And you know, we'll probably help you out with some NPCs or something like that. Just little things to help spice up your games a little bit. And uh, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. But we're always on the lookout for more ideas. So
So yeah, like he was talking, one of the games that I'm looking at running or trying to run is a game called Iron Sworn. Like he was talking about with Starforged, it uses the Oracle system, and I'm really looking forward to giving it a shot. It's very Viking world, and I enjoy the Vikings because evidently I'm part Scandinavian. Who knew? I took an ancestry DNA test, and that's what came back. So,
yeah, the things you learn about us on random chat, you know.
yeah, it came back that I was like 68% Scandinavian, and it was like, wait, what? Okay.
So yeah, she's 68% Scandinavian, and I'm you know like 99% strange white guy. So it works out real well.
Yes, I just wish I could have gotten the height of the Scandinavian. That would have been nice.
You'd look better getting ready for Valhalla.
Yes.
Um,
Speaking of, when we were at Renaissance Festival. I'm sorry, I'm going off track, but when we were at Renaissance Festival, we went and looked at knives, and they had some sexy, sexy swords, and they had an axe that I really, really wanted. It was a double-bladed axe, with the fanned look. the center of the blades were cut out to where it gave a silhouette of a dragon. And we all know how much I love dragons, okay? And yeah, I really, really wanted it. And then I saw the price tag and it was like my heart. So,
Yeah, don't go to Renaissance fairs if you don't have money to spend, because good grief, they suck you in with the pretty, and then the price tag's about that big, right? And so you have to look, and you never quite know what it is that you're gonna buy, and then it's $1,000 or whatever.
and Josh found a very sexy sword that was a hand and a half sword that had Viking runes on it. He wanted it, but it was price available on request, special order only.
Also known as, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. Oh, so yeah, what else do we have? We talked about Hope's Horizon. We talked about some of the streams we've got going on. After Hope's Horizon, we're not even done there. We've got other properties behind it that we've been developing for several years now. So this is this whole Angel Citadel thing started out almost as a joke, and it's not going away. We found that there's people that actually want to listen to what we have to say, and I bless you for that, and we'll keep talking, we'll keep trying to help as long as you let us. But when we're talking about content, things that we're trying to put out, there's really not going to be an end anytime soon. Um, that's one of the downsides, I guess, of being a creative, is you just keep coming up with more ideas, you know? So, look for a lot from us here over the next years plural, and, and, we've got some of those too, not that particular one, but we've got a few of those. Um, and, yeah, it's gonna be kind of a ride, and we're excited to have y'all along with us. So, you know, when you get a second, um, like and subscribe our Twitch channel here. Feel free to come join us on YouTube. Come join our Discord. The links, if you look at the about on the Twitch channel, the link's right there. Um, AngelCitadel.com's got all the ways you can get in touch with us. It's got our Twitch accounts. It's got Facebook. It's got MeWe. It's got Patreon. It's got Kofi. If you like what we do, please feel free to support us. It's not necessarily about making money for us, but that makes it so it's easier for us to buy stuff to review to help you guys make better decisions about your role playing games and to give you better advice. Because the more we learn about different systems, the more we can help teach better role playing and better game mastering, and that's how we give back to our friends and our community. So yeah, that's the first Citadel Lounge. Hopefully the chairs were comfortable. I think we can order up some divans and a couple of couches or something. Stick them over in the corner there.
No, I will not have a divan in my house.
Oh, come on, it's nice and poofy.
No, I have enough with my poofy dog.
Thanks, Anthony. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate it. Feel free to come back, and you can get us on Discord. Don't wait till next Sunday. Ask us questions in between, but please come back. We'd love to have you back. And we look forward to the next time we can sit down and chat and enjoy a good conversation, some good drinks, and have fun with you. So till then, this is Angel Citadel signing off.
Have a good night, everybody.